loved ones, thank you for joining me today. And if you're new to the channel, then welcome to the family. Today, I will be reviewing Married at First Sight Season 15, Episode 9. The episode was called, Are You Gonna Gaslight Me? And I actually had an episode MVP, and it was Lindy and Miguel. They had an awesome conversation about the extension of grace, which made me think, is God's grace infinite or finite? So if you want to know what I think about that, check the description box for my answer to that question. Please subscribe so that you can be part of the congregation, and please comment so that you can be part of the conversation. And with that, let's get started. Welcome to Fueled by Intentions, where we talk about faith, family, finances, fitness, and fun. Sponsored by Bynum's Business Solutions, where the right fit is made simple. We specialize in tips, tools, and strategies designed to help you achieve your financial health so that you can take control of how you spend your money so that you can spend more time with your family, friends, and doing the things you love. So let's jump right into the video. Lindy and Miguel. We first see Lindy and Miguel on day 20 in their montage when Miguel is cooking Lindy an omelet for breakfast, and the omelet looked so good. We then see Miguel talking to Steve on day 21, and I was really surprised by this conversation because Steve was saying that he was turned off by Lindy because at the housewarming party, she discussed the whole insurance and last name with them, and they felt like there was a turnoff. But my thing is did Steve not get the memo? Doesn't he know that the whole reason they have a housewarming is so that they can talk to their friends and family about what's going on in their marriage, and they are supposed to give their friends advice? So I felt like that was an unfair assessment of Lindy in that moment, since that is the whole purpose of the housewarming. So I'm not sure if he did not get the memo or if he has not seen Married at First Sight before. I don't know if I was Lindy, if I could really come back from that if I saw this conversation later, because I felt like he was really judging her character, especially talking about, is she a Dr. Jekyll and a Mr. Hyde? And the only way I can possibly give Steve a pass is he said that he's a skeptic. And to me, a skeptic is a negative Nancy. So maybe he is just negative about a lot of things, and this is just one of them. So I was not excited about Steve's conversation. But then there's Miguel, who's still questioning who Lindy is. And he says he does not know if Lindy is done with being Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He says that he is not sure if he turned off his red flag detectors, but you know what they say, date with your eyes wide open, and when you get married, you have to close them. I believe once married, the red flags have a higher threshold and calibration than in your dating relationship. When you're dating, you can just walk away on the small things, but when you're married, it needs to be something really big. So I don't know what to say about that in terms of Miguel's thoughts about Lindy. We then see Lindy and Miguel on day 23. And Miguel says that he is glad that Lindy is not working and she is home during the daytime. It appears that he is working from home. He also says Tweety Bird, Lindy's cat, has not warmed up to him, and both he and Tweety Bird are afraid of one another. They then get to the love conversation. And for both Lindy and Miguel, they say to fall in love, it takes time. And Lindy says about 8 months so that you can see all stages of a person. Lindy says seeing the worst part of someone and hating that part, but choosing to find love and connection and bringing it back to the good part. But Miguel says if he sees the worst part of someone, he thinks they're crazy, rude, or inconsiderate, and he bids them goodbye. He says someone, but then she turns it to herself and says, I am human and I need grace. Miguel points out that grace is finite. You can't expect someone to stick around with continual breakdowns and outbursts. He has been in relationships where he has been taken for granted and used because of how easygoing he is. He now puts his foot down and he is firm and vocal, and he does not want a toxic relationship. Lindy wants his support when she is emotionally distraught and does not want him to keep score. But Miguel says it depends on the severity of the issue. Lindy says if they keep score, they will crash and burn in the relationship. If in the moment they fix things, then it is done, and that should not be brought up again. She says that a relationship without grace and forgiveness is not going to last because everyone is human. Lindy says there is forgiveness for the same offense because there is a learning curve, but Miguel says no. Miguel says there is a fine line with patience and being taken advantage of. Lindy says she will work for her marriage if it's 90% and she feels like that's great. She's not going to go and ruin her marriage looking for 91%. And Miguel agrees with that. Miguel says that if his feelings were not involved in his marriage, then he would be counting down the days. I thought that was a great conversation. I can't believe that he would be counting down the days if he was not emotionally invested in Lindy, because I don't think, we've only seen the one outburst. I don't know if there's others, but it doesn't sound like it, because even when they talk later in the episode, he just mentions that one episode and he doesn't seem like it's a continual thing. So I'm not sure what I think about Miguel, if he is going to just split and run at the minor things. But I do agree with both of them. I think that you have to have grace within a relationship, and you cannot keep score, else it's not going to work. I also agree that if someone makes a mistake and they make the same mistake, that you have to give them time, because sometimes it takes a long time for somebody to change their habits, and for them to just be able to change in an instant, that's not always possible. But I also agree with Miguel. I think that grace is finite. I think God's grace is finite as well. And I think that it depends on the severity of the situation. So if somebody is beating you or something like that, or continually cheating on you, then you are not going to give them time after time after time. But so I think it's the severity, but I love the conversation. I think they both had some great points. I think that I don't know what I think about this couple based on this conversation. I do like that. I feel like they kind of agreed at the end, because when he talked about it's the severity of the relationship, and then she said that she wouldn't give up at 90%, and he agreed with her on that, and she agreed that you shouldn't just be rude and disrespectful in a relationship and somebody shouldn't continually to stay. So I think even though she was saying that grace is infinite, I feel like some of her infinite. I think that some of the points that she made, in the fact that she agreed with him, that she really would think that it is finite and not infinite, not ever ongoing. And I do believe that her Christian upbringing has some validity in terms of how she thinks, because we hear God's grace and forgive people 70 times a day, and that's what we're taught as Christians. And I know that some of that still sticks with her, although she does not still subscribe to the religion. But I thought it was a great, interesting conversation. I would love to know what you think. Do you think God's grace is infinite or finite? What did you think about this conversation? Did you agree with one side or another, or do you kind of like me, kind of float in the middle? This was a great marriage conversation. We then see them on day 25, and they are getting ready for their group therapy, and Miguel accepted his shirt with grace and seemed to like it. Miguel didn't even notice when he walked into the group therapy session that other people had on the same shirt as him. That would be me. I would just be oblivious, not even really paying that much attention to the other person. So I thought that was interesting, because we see the extreme of emotions of the guys' responses as they walked in and noticed that they all had on the same shirt. I thought it was a great prank. It's never been done before. And I'm really glad that the girls came together and, played that little small joke. It was fun. So yeah, I thought Miguel handled it really well. We finally see Dr. Pia. So I was really glad to see her in this episode. She did a wonderful job. I wish her sessions were longer, and I wish she would have done a one-on-one with them, because I feel like, I don't know, maybe it was longer, but I wish we could have seen more of it, because I think that she could have dig deeper into what they were going through. But I thought she was beautiful, and I love seeing her in this episode. Lindy in group therapy says she wants Miguel to see her angry inner child that is due to her traumas. And she says what that looks like is her being overly emotional and saying whatever she wants to, whatever's in her head, and she just goes crazy. She says she is holding back due to her respect for Miguel. But I'm confused, because if you think you have an angry inner child, like when you want to go and deal with that, I don't know why you would want somebody to experience your trauma. I would think that if you already know that you have an angry inner child because of your childhood trauma, I don't know why you would want someone to see that instead of recognizing that you have that and wanting to go and get help for it, so that other people do not have that experience of you. So that was interesting to me, but I feel like what Lindy is saying is that she just wants to be fully loved and accepted for who she is, right where she is. Unconditional love, which is what God gives us. I think Lindy's whole point is she wants unconditional love, and she wants to be fully accepted for who she is, where she is right now. But the thing that I love most about Lindy is I think she's willing to change. And if she's willing to suppress that angry inner child that is there because of childhood traumas, because she respects him, then I think that she would be willing to go get help. And I think that she is allowing people to see that angry inner child from her traumas because it's been accepted. But Miguel is saying, no, I'm not going to accept that. And he even said in the session, I saw that and I pushed that down. Because who wants to be talked down to or cussed at? And, that's not nice. So I actually believe that Lindy will be willing to change for Miguel in that area. And hopefully she will go get some professional help, since she has identified that it is an angry inner child that is a result of her childhood traumas. So she should get help for that. In the end, their conversation wraps up with Lindy needing space so that she can be her authentic self. And they both determined that they just need time. And that was all for Lindy and Miguel on this episode. So what do you think? What do you think about the angry inner child, Lindy? Do you think that somebody should experience that, or do you think she should go get help? And what do you think about the grace conversation? Do you think God's grace is infinite or finite? And do you think grace in relationships, not only marital relationships, but do you think we should have infinite or finite grace in relationships? So let me know by sounding off in the comments. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, live with intention. Be intentional.